to all, and certainly thank you, Presiding Elder Hansberry, for those words of presentation, to Supervisor Zanders, and to all the presiding elders assembled, and our host pastor, Pastor Jeffrey Dove, who's called us here for this moment, and all who are standing with us today. We celebrate and thank God for the call to unity and clarity, the call to oneness. As I was making my way here, I thought about December 31st, 1862. They were waiting to hear about a proclamation for freedom.
Talk, sir.
Waiting. Unfortunately, as we've moved through the Advent season, a season of hope, a season of peace, a season of joy, which would lead to love, embodied in Emmanuel, which would birth us into the season of Christmas.
Yes.
Christmas is not a day, it's a season. A season of glad tidings and goodwill and peace on earth to all people. Unfortunately, our students and perhaps leaders and educators in our public school system could not enjoy perhaps the fullness of that peace because of remarks and comments made by a trusted elected official. I am Bishop Marvin C. Zanders II, presiding bishop of the 11th Episcopal District of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, which embraces the state of Florida. We have footprints in all 67 counties in the state of Florida and the Bahamas, representing some 100,000 plus constituent members. I'm a resident of Clay County. My sons were first students at Oakleaf High School. My middle son, Marvin Frank Curtis Zanders, first starting quarterback at Oakleaf High School, winner of the first game and scorer of the first touchdown against St. John's County Day.
Talk, sir.
They went to Green Cove Elementary School. This is not the first time I've been before the Clay County School Board addressing issues and matters that we together can solve when we place the dignity and the humanity of all personhood in front of biases and prejudices. So today, I speak out of deep concern for the well-being of our children, educators, and our community. Recent social media comments made by Clay County School Board member Robert Alvaro, in which he described African Americans in sweeping, negative, and demeaning terms are irresponsible, unacceptable, and unbecoming of anyone entrusted with public office, particularly one charged with overseeing the education of our children. Thank you, Pastor Dove, for the demographics on the Clay County school system. But let me narrow in. Of the 8 schools that are under the jurisdiction of District 2, which school board member Roberta Alvaro serves, 5 of them are majority African American led. How can you provide guidance encouragement, support with rhetoric such as been given, which would lead us to believe in one did not give thought, but is merely fear-mongering or gaslighting, writing a narrative that would dehumanize any group of people. Words matter.
Yes, they do.
They do.
Watch your words, for they create your world.
Yes.
When an elected official speaks with such broad condemnation of an entire community, it sends a harmful message, especially to those who are called out, students of African American descent. I understand the fight for freedom that our brother has pushed and moved through. But what about those who he has characterized, who've been on the margins and the borders? And finally, we find ourselves at a place where these students and their families and their educators deserve to know that those in leadership see their dignity, value their humanity, and are committed to their success. Oh, we are living in a time when our nation and our local communities are yearning to build bridges rather than walls, to remove barriers rather than reinforce them. Rhetoric that relies on stereotypes and personal biases does the opposite. It deepens division, erodes trust, and undermines the very foundation of public education, which must be rooted in equity, respect, and opportunity for all. Well, whether spoken aloud, implicit bias, whether spoken aloud or quietly acted upon, cannot be tolerated in our schools. When left unchallenged, it shapes policies,
Yes, it does.
influences discipline, affects resource allocation, and ultimately harms children.
Yes, it does.
I stand in agreement with the Commissioner of Education, and I quote the Commissioner in saying in his letter to Mr. Alvaro dated December 22nd, 2025, your recent unprofessional conduct, a discriminatory social media post about the African American community has been brought to my attention. It is unclear to me how an individual entrusted with the oversight of educating over 39 students in Clay County could speak in such a way. End of quote. Well, this is not merely a matter of personal opinion. It's a matter of public responsibility. We therefore call upon the superintendent and the Clay County School Board to continue to take the meaningful steps to ensure that such rhetoric is neither normalized nor repeated. We offer kindly the following suggestions to go along with what you're already doing. Reaffirming a clear code of conduct for board members that prohibits discriminatory or demeaning public statements. Mandatory ongoing training in cultural competence, implicit bias, and anti-racism for all board members and senior administrators. Transparent accountability mechanisms when statements or actions undermine equity and inclusion. Active engagement with African American families, faith leaders, and community and all people, that they might be heard, that they might be seen as valuable, to rebuild the trust and ensure their voices for informed decision making, and a renewed commitment to equity focus, policy, and data review, particularly in areas such as discipline, academic access, and student achievement. We're leaving the past behind.
Talk, sir.
A new day
New day.
is dawning. But James Baldwin says you have to face it to fix it. Our children are watching. Our educators are watching. Our community is watching. Leadership demands more than holding a title. It requires wisdom, humility, and a commitment to serve all people with fairness and respect. Again, I'm grateful for those who have already made their voices known. And we simply come today, this last day of 2025, after giving considerable and careful thought and consultation with many, that we could not be silent because we call our communities when things are happening, when we see something, say something. We see irresponsible leadership by the comments that were posted and made. We called on our January 6th school board meeting that we will hear more about the steps taken. And we are prayerful that the January 21st, 2026 meeting with the Commission on Education will bring some resolve. So, as a faith leader, I believe in the power of transformation, accountability, and reconciliation. But those begin with acknowledging the harm and choosing a better path forward. Our schools must be places where every child knows that they belong, and every family knows they are valued. God bless America and Clay County.